And literally in that instant, all my shackles, boom, they completely exploded. And that was a key turning point in my life. So in this video, you're going to learn how you can brainwash yourself to success. Why? Because we are going to take a look at Lila Hormoz's video called How I Brainwashed Myself to Success. So is it even possible to brainwash yourself to success? Is success really all a state of mind? Or is it all about putting the hard work day in, day out and never giving up? That's what we're going to find out.
How I brainwashed myself to succeed. Have you ever looked at your life and thought to yourself, man, I am so far from where I want to be?
This is exactly how I felt a couple years ago, before I started my own consulting business. I was completely depressed, I hated my life, I hated my body, I was kind of skinny fat at the time, and everything in my life just seemed to go all over the place. I really wanted to make a change, but I had some kind of social anxiety, I didn't even know where to start. And because I was so afraid of putting myself out there and getting rejected, I actually procrastinated starting the business that changed my life for 7 months. Why? Because I was terrified of getting on a sales call. But then one day I decided to make a change. So I started to force myself to get up early, to exercise, and to do all of the things that I didn't necessarily feel like doing. But I knew that by doing those things, I would be able to accomplish so much more and I would be able to reach my goals. I knew that if I did the right thing, if I worked hard, if I persevered, then it would only be a matter of time before I became successful. Because I've seen so many success stories growing up of people starting from the bottom and they ended up climbing all the way to the top. And some of those successful people, they had social anxiety, they were shy, they were anxious. Some of them had very bad starting points. And so I could relate to them. And it inspired me because I saw, if those people can do it, then why could I not do it too? And today, this is what my life looks like. As you can see, I've built a pretty nice life for myself. But trust me, it was built one day at a time. I didn't start off like that. If anything, it was the opposite. And then the funny thing is that one day, I was on a sales meeting with a prospect, and the first thing that he said when we started the call, he actually apologized for being so nervous because he had never been on a call like this before. And then it blew my mind. I had this massive realization in that instant. All that time I had been so afraid, but for literally nothing. And literally in that instant, all my shackles, boom, they completely exploded. And that was a key turning point in my life. Because I realized, hey, he was worried too. He was scared. You know, some people, they tell you, oh, just don't focus on what other people think of you. Focus on what you think of yourself. And it's a lot easier said than done. But then one day I understood this thing. I understood that not everybody was going to like me anyway. So I may as well just be myself and do what I want to do, say what I want to say. And then the people who like me, that's great, we can be friends. But if somebody doesn't like me, fine, I will find somebody else who does. Truth is, if you're trying to make everyone like you, in the end, no one will like you. The reason is because you cannot please everybody. And if you say one thing to one person and then to another person you say the opposite, if those people they come into contact, they're going to be like, hey, who are you? So in the end, you'll end up alone. So when you're so scared of starting a business, or of doing something, because you're afraid of how other people are going to perceive you, of what they're going to say, of how they're going to treat you, just remember that literally no matter what you do, you will always have haters. People judging you, criticizing you, talking shit about you. It's always going to be the case. So knowing that, realize that, hey, I may as well just do what I'm going to do anyway and not care about what other people are going to say or think. And also you need to realize that when you're so scared about what somebody is going to think about you, understand that they're thinking the same. Like they're just as worried about how you are going to see them. And when you shift your mindset and you see this way, it's going to change everything for you. And now you will no longer be scared of talking to strangers or of doing the things that you actually want to do. For me, it was a complete game changer.
When I was 19, I was anxious, I was angry, I was frustrated, and I felt hopeless. I would go so far as to say that 99% of people in this world feel that way.
It might be the case for you watching this video right now. You know that you want to obtain a better life for yourself. You want to upgrade the quality of your life. You want to be able to have enough money to be free to be able to buy anything that you want without having to take the price tag into consideration. You want to buy nice things for yourself and for your loved ones. You want to go on fancy vacations. You want to just enjoy life. And you're damn right. But right now, your life is completely different. You wake up every morning, maybe you go to university, you go to school, or on the opposite, you have a job, but you don't really like that job. You know it's not going to make you rich or to allow you to be free. And so you wonder, what's the point of getting up every day and I'm just doing this thing that is meaningless and it's not even going to help me to reach my goals? I grew up in a low-income family and I can tell you that I saw people working super hard all of their life to in the end achieve nothing and have nothing. All of their dreams thrown to the garbage bin. I've seen people work hard all year and then on their vacation they can't even leave. So what do? They just watch TV all day long. And then when the vacation is over, guess what? They get back to work. And that is what they call leaving. And that's not to say that most of them they were completely depressed. I mean for a reason. So if you feel this way, you have to know that you need to make a change. No one is going to come and save you. Believe it or not, but it's the sad truth. No one is going to take your situation as seriously as you ever will. And that even includes the people who love you. If you keep doing what you've always been doing or what you currently are doing, then know that you're not going to have a different outcome in the future. Einstein said it very well. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, and then you expect a different outcome. If you want a different outcome, you need to change the inputs. In any given systems, if you don't change the inputs, the outputs are going to stay the same. It would be kind of like you're punching the wall and then you wonder, oh, it hurts, but you keep doing it. And then you're like, oh, it hurts. Well, obviously it hurts. So what do you expect? Do you expect that if you keep punching the wall, it's not going to hurt at some point? That it's going to break the wall maybe? That's not how things work.
I don't feel motivated. I'm too anxious. I'm too upset. Think about the amount of times that you've told yourself those things. Majority of most of our lives, we've been told that negativity is a bad thing. I'm here to tell you that the 1% of people in this world that succeed know it's the exact opposite. They actually use those negative thoughts and emotions as fuel to get what they want. You see, most of us have been brainwashed by society into thinking that these thoughts and feelings are bad, that they mean there's something wrong with us. Like you're anxious, you're depressed, you're OCD, every label in the book you can think of, I was called.
If right now you're feeling angry, anxious, frustrated because you simply don't like your life, know that it's normal. Those negative feelings, you don't have to repress them. A lot of people will make you feel guilty for feeling negative. Some might even say that it's selfish because you're going to project that negativity onto other people. But hey, if you feel like crap, you feel like crap. You shouldn't have to lie about how you feel. And I know what I'm about to say might sound a bit crazy, but you need to understand that your negative feelings, they're actually blessings in disguise. Now, what do I mean by that exactly? If you feel some kind of negative emotion, it's actually a messenger trying to deliver a message to you. Now, if it's been months that you're feeling this kind of negative emotion, maybe it's depression, anger, frustration, sadness, loneliness, then it means that you're not yet willing to receive the message, because otherwise the emotion would have long been gone. So if after 6 months, if after a year, if after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or however long, you still feel angry, tired, frustrated, sad, lonely, then it's because you're not accepting the message that your emotions are trying to tell you. And as long as you don't accept that message, you won't be able to take action and to change your situation, because your situation is only going to change through action. Massive action. They say that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. In reality, that's not the case. 9 out of 10 people fail. And why do I say that? Because behind every business is a few people or one person. And so whose fault is it if the business fails? It's the fault of the person. Either because they didn't start the right business at the right time, or because they're simply not willing to put in the necessary work and all of the sacrifices required to make that business venture successful.
And I spent so much time and energy trying to rid myself of these things, thinking there was something wrong with me, that there was something broken, that I was damaged goods. There's nothing wrong with thinking those thoughts, with feeling badly, with feeling negative. The problem is labeling it as something wrong and telling ourselves that there's something wrong with us when we feel these things.
This is completely true. If you feel negative emotions, it's trying to tell you something. It's life trying to wake you up so that you do something about it and that you change your situation. If you feel depressed, if you feel sad, lonely, anxious, you shouldn't just accept your situation, learn to live with those negative emotions, because that is no way to live. And on the topic of motivation, because she talked about this earlier, she said some people say, oh, I don't feel motivated. And it's true. A lot of people, they're going to say, oh, I'm not motivated to go into exercise. Like I've had a cousin of mine tell me, I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you exercise every day. I don't have the motivation to do it. But then the only thing I wanted to say is, really, I'm not always motivated. Sometimes the last thing I want to do is to wake up and go to the gym and do my workout. But then when I'm doing it, I get into a flow state and I start to enjoy my workout. But it's true with most things in life. Right before I get to work, sometimes I just don't feel like doing it, to be honest with you. So if you feel like you don't want to do this kind of thing, you don't want to work, you don't want to exercise, there's nothing wrong with you. However, if you actually decide to take action, it is what is going to determine if you will end up reaching your goal, yes or no. Because successful people, they're not these people who are always motivated, they're always driven to do things, they always have a ton of energy. In reality, that is complete BS. The only real difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are simply willing to take risks and to do whatever the hell it takes to get to their goal. This also means that if they're tired, if they don't want to work, they're not motivated, they're still going to get the work done anyway. They're at least going to show up because they know if they want that thing, if they really want that success, they really want to achieve this or that, they need to put in the work. No one or nothing is going to give it to them, to hand it to them on a silver platter. And most people completely have it the wrong way about motivation. They think that you need to feel motivated or inspired before you do something, before you get to work, before you exercise. In reality, motivation comes from getting results from whatever it is that you're doing. And if you don't believe me, well, take a look at this example. Let's say that you go to the gym every day for a year straight. Your goal is to build muscle, to look better, to impress everyone around you because of your incredibly good looking physique. You take a picture on day one and you take a picture on day 365. And there's literally no difference. You look the same. You're still skinny. Nothing has changed. Now tell me, how many people would keep going to the gym? How many people would keep working out if they don't see results like this for a year straight? Literally nobody. Because yeah, you might enjoy exercising, but let's be honest. If your goal is to get stronger, to get bigger, to feel better about your body, if at the end of that year, you've worked your ass off every day, you haven't achieved anything, you've made zero progress, you won't keep doing it. And the same applies to literally anything. So motivation, it comes from getting results. When you go to the gym, you start to see that, hey, you can lift heavier, or hey, you look better, hey, you see some ab outline. It is insanely motivating. It's more motivating than watching any motivational gym video on YouTube, or trying to hype yourself up with some bunch of affirmations in front of the mirror every day. And the same is true in business. You can watch every single YouTube video, read every book on personal finance or money, but at the end of the day, if you don't feel motivated, it's because you're not taking enough action. Because if you were doing more, you would get more results. Most of the time, most people, they're not doing enough, and that is why they're not getting the results that they want. That, and not doing the right thing, and not being patient. Because even if you work really hard at something, it's going to take time. That's the way that the game is played. So if your excuse is that you don't feel motivated, in reality what you are really telling yourself is that you don't want to do it. You don't want it bad enough. So remember, motivation comes when you do something, when you start to get results. It creates a positive feedback loop.
Momentum can either work for or against you. Your life either continues to get worse and worse and worse, or it continues to get better and better and better. It just depends on what outlook you have on that energy.
Many people will experience this phenomenon. Like I said, if you start to go to the gym or you start your own business, you reach out to people, to potential customers, more and more people are going to respond to you. You'll start to sign a client, and then you'll start to become more confident, and you'll feel more motivated because, hey, you have some success. It's all of the small rewards, all of the small successes along the way, leading to your big goal that actually keep you motivated. The more you do one thing, the easier it gets to do. To give you an example, if you go to the gym, the more you bench press or the more you squat, the easier it becomes to perform that same exercise. Because if you only squat once every 3 months, then you can clearly see that you will not make much progress, and it is going to be very frustrating. So the more you do something, it's going to create a positive feedback loop, like I said, and the easier it is going to be to get results. But also, you've got to be careful, because the opposite scenario also happens. If you start to be undisciplined, you work less hard on your business, you're going to reach out to less people. You'll see that less people respond to you. You'll get less customers. You'll close less deals. You'll start to panic and to think you're doing something wrong, that, oh, your business isn't working, or that, you know what, maybe I should go and try dropshipping. When in reality, dropshipping is a horrible business model, and that is especially true for beginners. Or if you stop going to the gym, you start to eat some more junk food. It starts with one pizza, then it's one pizza every week, then it's one pizza literally every night, and before you know it, you're in this cycle of hell where you lost all of the progress you've made. That's what we call a negative feedback loop. It's literally the opposite of a positive feedback loop. Now, if you want to find out why dropshipping is such a terrible business model to start, especially if you are a beginner, I have recorded a free video that is going to analyze every popular online business model, and together we figure out which one is the best to start for beginners. We take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I am also going to share with you the 3-step process that you can use to start getting your first customers today. The link is in the description.
My life was honestly going wrong in every direction that you could think of. Like, I was 85 pounds overweight, I wasn't in a relationship, I was doing drugs and drinking alcohol on a regular basis, I was flunking out of school, I got arrested 6 times, and I had really, no real friends. I continued to fail until what I would say is one of the many rock bottom moments I had, which was the 6th time I was arrested. And the cops took me home to my parents' house because I was going to college about 30 minutes away from where my parents' house was, where I grew up. The cops took me there. I don't remember what happened. I just woke up at my dad's house, and I knew that was not good. I was expecting my dad to yell at me and to tell me I'm a loser and that I'm amounting to nothing in life and all these things that I already knew and I already thought of myself. And instead, my dad told me, I don't care if you want to keep doing this or not doing this, but I have to tell you, I do think you're going to kill yourself. I said, what do you mean? He said, I think you're going to drink so much, we're going to do drugs, and you're going to die.
For a lot of people, it's only when they hit rock bottom that they actually decide to make a conscious change and to take control of their life. A lot of people, they have an opportunity to change their lives, to make more money, to build a better physique. I believe that everyone can do this. But most people, they're not going to be willing to take a look at their situation and to admit that, quite frankly, they're not satisfied with it. And they're also not willing to look at themselves and to say, you know what, maybe I didn't work as hard as I could have. Acceptance of your current situation is the first step to changing it. A lot of people, they simply try to deny what's going wrong in their life. They're overweight, but they don't want to look at it. They're not making that much money, but they prefer to ignore it. And instead, they play video games or they watch TV endlessly. But if something is really a painful problem for you in your life, maybe you're overweight or you're not making as much money as you want to obtain more financial freedom and abundance, the only way that's ever going to change is if you decide to make a change. Nobody's going to come and to force the change for you, and life isn't going to magically change for you. It's not like one day you're going to wake up and you're going to find $1 million on your doorstep, Or you'll wake up and you'll see you have some nice abs. It doesn't work that way. Success and freedom, they're earned, they're never given. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they're only going to react when it's about to be too late. Like it's not too late yet, but soon if they keep doing what they're doing, there's going to be some serious damage. Like in her example, if she was going to keep drinking that much, she would have literally killed herself. And usually that is when people have their big aha moment. They realize what they have been doing wrong all along. And they make a commitment to changing their situation because they cannot keep doing this any longer.
When I looked in the mirror, I saw a victim. I was letting all those thoughts and feelings dominate me, control me, rather than learning how to wield them and use them as tools to build the life that I've always wanted. And so I went home that night to my apartment and I made a commitment to myself. I remember specifically, I sat down in bed and I was so angry at the fact that I had let my life get here. And I made a post on Facebook. I was proclaiming that I was going to change my life, that I was no longer going to be at any parties, that you wouldn't see me, that I was getting off social media, and I was just going to go commit myself to bettering my life. I made that post, I cut off my friends, and I went to work. I decided to dedicate myself to becoming the version of myself that I'd always wanted to be, the version of myself that I envisioned when I was a little girl. When you're growing up and people are asking you, what do you want to be when you're in school? You're thinking of this like amazing, successful person. I decided to rededicate myself to that vision. But I knew that in order to do this, I needed to start with my mind.
It might sound a bit woo-woo to a lot of people, but your reality, the world that you experience, it's also a reflection of your mind and of what you believe. And by that, what I mean is that if you don't believe that you can succeed, that you can have a 7-figure or a 6-figure online business, you'll never do what it takes to get there. You won't even start. Or if you do start, you'll half-ass everything. You won't put in your best effort. You won't do great work. And then you won't get results and you'll be like, of course, I'm no good for this. I'm not cut out for it. I can't do it. When in reality, the real issue, it wasn't your skill level or your intelligence or anything like that. It was simply that you had the wrong beliefs. If you don't believe that you can do something, you won't be successful at it. And fair enough, sometimes we're so stuck in our own heads. And it's when somebody else comes to us and says, you can do it, you know how to do it. And then that person, they give you hope. So you try and do that thing and now you've got some more hope, some more belief in yourself and you end up making it work. So sometimes, yeah, you need somebody to come and to just shake you up a little bit.
What I really need to do is undo all the garbage that had been put in my head when I was growing up through society and other authority figures that I knew wasn't right.
A lot of people, they think that if they want to make more money or get in shape, they need to learn a bunch of stuff. And don't get me wrong, that's true. Knowledge is power, but only coupled with ruthless implementation. If you don't know something that is going to help you to move forward, well, you're going to get stuck. You don't know what you don't know, like they say. However, not that many people talk about the fact that before you learn something new, you need to be able to question your beliefs in the first place. So in a way, you need to deprogram your mind from all the stuff that is holding you back. Because chances are, right now you've got beliefs, thought patterns that are holding you back, limiting you, preventing you from moving forward. And the first step to deprogramming your mind from all of those false beliefs and ideas is to actually wonder, are they even right to begin with? Like, question your beliefs. And then your mind will be open to adding another belief, a new belief, one that is going to help you to move forward and to be successful. But it all starts with your mind. Yes, don't get me wrong, mindset on its own, it's not enough. It's not going to allow you to make 7 or 8 figures a year or 6 figures a year, but you need to start somewhere. Like I said, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and you're not going to be able to do a 12-hour workday if in reality, what you do all day is that you just watch Netflix. You cannot just change overnight. People want overnight results, but it doesn't happen like this. Whenever you see somebody, they become popular on social media, for instance, people think that it's an overnight success. They got lucky. But in reality, when you look at their post history, you realize, oh my god, they have been putting out content for 5-10 years. So it wasn't an overnight success.
Tell me the last time you asked yourself one of these questions. Why am I so fat? Why can't I succeed? Why do I suck at this?
A lot of people, they just constantly blame themselves for everything. I've always had very negative self-talk. I've always been very harsh with myself. And everyone around me told me the same thing. But then one day, I shifted the way that I saw things. I saw a video of somebody explaining that if he were to speak to his friends the same way that he speaks to himself, he would have no friends. And that's when I realized you must be your own best friend, not your own worst enemy. So change the way that you think, change the way that you speak to yourself. And that is the first step to becoming a better version of yourself, who is actually capable of making all of your dreams come true. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a process that takes time. Now, if you want to start your own online business, you have no clue what to do, I have recorded a free video that is going to explain exactly how you can do that. The link is in the description below. And with that said, as always, I am waiting for you on the other side.